Hey everyone, in this video I'm going to talk through what I as a pediatrician think that we should be taking into consideration as we make our holiday plans for 2020. This time of year is special to me, it's special to my family, it's special to you and to your family, and everybody kind of wants to know what should we do and what should we be thinking about as we go into the holiday season in the midst of a pandemic. Really quickly, I wanted to start by kind of just talking through what's been going on lately. Right now is a really rough time, and you might not feel it because you might, have kind of gotten COVID fatigue like everybody is right now and felt like, well, it's really not affecting me. But look at these numbers. I mean, if you look at this graph, you can see, I have to look past my thing here to see. You can see that we just continue to trend upwards. And if things were scary in March and April, in terms of, this pandemic is serious, we need to lock down and all those different things that we did then, we are at a much, much, much worse place right now. I want to share with you this figure, which, is probably in part what we're going to see in the next couple of weeks, is that a lot of people didn't stay put for Thanksgiving. They traveled, they saw their loved ones. And today is, December 8th. What is today? December 8th. And so what that means is there's still a lot of cases out there that maybe have been started to have symptoms. They might not have been diagnosed yet because of the lag in testing, and they haven't ended up in the hospital yet. And not all of those will, of course, but a subset will. And so we're talking about the next couple of weeks of really seeing the results of Thanksgiving and if a surge occurred. But we should know that within the next 2 weeks, what that looks like in terms of case count and hospitalizations and everything like that. Right now, where we're at is, I need to scoot over because I'm going to get cut off by this, that we're at the worst place in the history of the pandemic, where we have 2,000 people a day that are dying from COVID in the United States, and that we have never reached those numbers before. And if you look and see, there's over 220,000 new cases per day that in the United States, and I gotta just squint to see this, 10,000 patients are in the hospital right now, which is more than double a month ago. So we have drastically escalated the number of hospitalizations. And if nothing else, if we think about nothing else, we can think at least we're in a really bad place with hospitalizations. And in some communities, they're at the point where they have to decide who gets the hospital bed, who gets the oxygen, who gets those things, because we just don't have the capacity to care for all those patients. And we're at the worst place right now with more cases getting diagnosed ever, which means we're going to have more hospitalizations in the weeks to come than we've ever had before. I wanted to share this too, which is that the COVID has become the leading cause of death. If you think about all the causes of death, number one is cardiovascular disease, number two is stroke, those sorts of things. COVID has surpassed all of those as the leading cause of death in the country, which means that, if you're worried about those other things, that COVID is actually killing more people than any of those other diseases that we typically think of as killing people. So even if we're talking about, and talking about the survival rate is 99%, there's still a lot of people that are dying right now, and it's projected to get a lot worse and have over 500,000 deaths before February. And so, all this is to say is, like, we're at kind of a bad place right now. This was a statistic that really struck me locally. You can look and you can say, here's the caseload in the population for your area, and then you can look at what is the likelihood that if I gather with 10 people, what is the likelihood that one of them will have it? And as you can see here, if you gather in a group of 10 people, the likelihood that somebody has coronavirus is 37%. 37% chance that there's one person in that group of 10 that has coronavirus at this moment, which is just crazy to think about. And as you're planning your holidays, taking those things into consideration, that it is very likely that if you have even a half-size gathering from, we have big family, so we gather in bunches, there would be several people that would probably have coronavirus if we were to gather in our normal size groupings. And maybe you have even larger families and you're thinking about 20, 30, 40 people getting together for the holidays, or seeing a group of 12 and then a group of 17 and all those different sizes. You're really mixing and mingling with a lot of people, and that escalates the likelihood that somebody in the group has coronavirus. And Are we going to spread? Are we going to give it to grandma or grandpa or somebody with chronic disease or a pregnant mom or a child or something like that? There's a lot to take into consideration when we're talking about this and in gathering in those groups. So I kind of wanted to paint a picture of we're at like a bad place right now. On the flip side, I know everybody wants to get together and they want to see their loved ones and have the year end on a little bit better note than it has been for the last 9 months, because everybody is tired, everybody is stressed out, fatigued. We just want to have some sense of normalcy. I totally get that, and I am right there with you too, wanting to have that sense of normalcy this holiday season. There's so many memories tied to Christmas and New Year's and all of the different holidays that you celebrate that we want to have some sense of normalcy. And so I'd like to give you 3 ideas for different ways that you could try to have a holiday that is memorable and that is safe. And so I want to talk through those. Now, in my book, the safest way to get together would be over Zoom and to do a virtual get-together. And comment below if that's what you're planning to do, or just comment below what you're planning to do, because I would love to hear, and I think it's helpful for other people to see how others are mitigating this danger. And if you haven't clicked subscribe to this video, would you please hit subscribe, hit the like button so that you get notified when I do more videos like this. So like I was saying, the safest way would be to do it as a virtual get-together. And I heard from so many people on Thanksgiving that they did a virtual get-together. They baked cookies, they baked pumpkin pie, they sat down at the table and they put their little iPhones on the table so that you could have kind of a group get together. They played games, they colored pictures, they did those sorts of things. It was not normal, but it was good. It was good enough, and it kept everybody safe. And I know, like, saying the safest way to get together would be to not get together is a cop out. It's like saying the safest way to go skydiving is to not go skydiving. Well, there's ways to make skydiving safe, like having a parachute and those sorts of things. But when we're talking about coronavirus right now in the country, it might be like saying the safest way to, go skydiving is to make sure that your equipment works. And if your equipment doesn't work, then don't go. You're counting on keeping everybody safe. But if we're at a place where, if we're in a group of 10, that it's likely that there's a 37% chance that somebody has coronavirus, well, maybe we just have bad equipment right now and we shouldn't go skydiving at this moment. We should just pause, let things improve, and then go skydiving. And so that would be certainly the safest way. Now, there's a lot of mental health issues going on in this country right now because of the isolation, because of the loneliness, because of the shame and the guilt and everything that goes along with that. So I totally get that. And we need to look after those people that are really experiencing isolation and loneliness. I'm talking, loved ones that live alone, loved ones that are in a nursing home or something along those lines, loved ones that don't have access to all of the other ways that we can connect with others. And so I do think that there is a reason and an important consideration to give to those that really need some connection, some holiday cheer, and that it's something that will keep them going through the midst of this, because depression is real, anxiety is real, all of this, everything wrapped up in coronavirus is certainly real, and I totally get that, and I honor that, and I want you to know that I completely understand that. And so let's say you have a person or grandparents or that loved one that doesn't have anyone else around to see them or think of them, and you really want to get together with them. I do think that there are ways that you can safely get together. Now, in an ideal world, what would happen is you would say, we're going to get together on Christmas. 2 weeks before, we're going to start quarantining. And quarantining doesn't mean, just like cutting back on your social engagements or wearing a mask when you get together with friends and family. Quarantining would be work from home, have groceries delivered, like actually essentially lock yourself down. If the other person can do that too, then I think it would be as safe as possible to get together with that person. And you might have to kind of negotiate, and you might have to kind of help them along. If it's, let's say it's an elderly relative or something like that, they probably don't know how to get their groceries delivered. You could help them to do that and say, hey, we're doing all this so that we can get together. I know it's going to take some personal sacrifice. I know that it seems really challenging to do this, and maybe we have to adjust the date that we get together because our kids are in school and we can't safely quarantine for 2 weeks prior to them getting together. But if you want to safely say, we're going to get together with relative so-and-so because we really need to see them, they really need us, then that's the way that I would do it. I would quarantine for 2 weeks prior to the date, and then if possible, I would get tested. Maybe 3 to 5 days before you're actually going to get together. If you can arrange to get tested, which I know it's difficult, but then you'll know that is not the perfect remedy. If you get tested and on December 20th and you're getting together on the 25th, then if you in those 5 days are exposed to somebody else, if you're asymptomatic and tested negative, there's still a risk, but we're going to do the best that we can to mitigate that risk by quarantining and by knowing that, okay, I got my test and I'm not going to be exposed to anyone between now and then, so that we're doing all that we can to protect ourselves and to keep things at a safe place. It's not perfect, but there is good reasons for saying we really need to get together. We cannot not see them for a year. But we don't want to put them in such jeopardy, especially when there's a vaccine on the horizon. And I think that's the hope at the end of all this, is that we're really close to a vaccine being distributed to the population. And so we know that next Christmas and next Thanksgiving and next Halloween are not going to be looking the same way that they're looking right now. Things are going to be in a much better place then from a population standpoint, whether or not you're going to get the vaccine, which I put out a lot of videos to hopefully get you the information that you need so you can make that educated decision for yourself. But I know we're not going to be in the same place next year as we are right now. So if possible, we can say, hey, I know we want to get together as a big family. We really want to get together, but we can't justify the risk of that. But, I really would like to see so-and-so because I'm really worried about them. It really means a lot to them. They're probably really lonely, isolated, confused, scared. Those are reasons that we're going to quarantine. We're only going to see them. Sorry. We know that you guys can handle it and our relationship can handle that, not getting together, and we will get together soon and we'll do Christmas in July when people are vaccinated and all those different things and be in a much better place then. Now, the third way, which is a little bit of a caveat, is we want to get together in a bigger group. I don't think that's a good idea. If you're going to do it, I'm going to tell you what I think I would do if you said, our families are getting together, or they're giving us a really hard time. I mean, there is definitely a lot of guilt and shame being brought into this, which is really unfortunate. But I do think that you can say, well, we would like to see you in small groups. We would like to wear masks. We would not like to eat. And those are, concessions that you can make to keep everybody as safe as possible. I think the most risky thing to do is get together in a group. Everybody sits around the fireplace and takes their masks off and has holiday cheer and opens presents in a large group that's, it's winter, so it's cold out. So you close the doors, close the windows, all those sorts of things. And then you eat a meal together. Then essentially, everyone has shared everyone's air for a long period of time. And so if there's somebody in that, if there's a chance that somebody has coronavirus, the likelihood that it's been shared with everyone is extremely high in those circumstances. It's just the perfect situation to spread it. Ways that you can cut down on that risk would be to get together for small periods of time, to wear masks, to take meals to go rather than sitting down at the table. There was an interesting study that examined a wedding, and people were spread out and separated. But what happened is it was actually from table to table, they could see who got coronavirus at this wedding, and it was from air conditioner to air conditioner where those vents were. People were spreading it, and it was hopping tables and hopping seemingly long distances from one table to another, and it was because the air conditioner was moving air from one area to another, and that was enough to do it. They weren't in each other's faces, but they were sitting right underneath the air conditioner vent at the wedding, and so they were getting air from across the room, from tables like 30 feet away from you. They were getting the air recirculated to them because they were right now at that vent, and they were getting it. And so it's not good enough, I think, to say, well, we're just going to kind of all sit at our own table, because the air circulation just allows for that to continue to move. And we know that droplets are definitely a route, and aerosol is thought to be a route too because of all the spread that we've seen in the small droplet sizes that are getting passed. So I think that unmasking to be together, whether it be to eat or to have holiday cheer or all those different things, is just a risky proposition at this point. So I would say, hey, I know that you guys are all getting together. What we're going to do is we're going to stop by. We're going to wear masks. We won't have dinner, but we'll exchange presents. We'll take our dinner to go. We'll be together for a short period of time. Hey, do you think we could do it in the garage? Because we can kind of crack the garage door. We can all wear our Christmas sweaters and stay warm enough. We're going to do that because we do love to see you, and we would love to see you, but we got to keep ourselves and the people that we're around safe, and we just don't feel comfortable with that. There's certainly negotiation that can be had, and you can work through and figure those things out, but it is really difficult. It's really challenging right now, and I know that there's a lot of people that are just fed up, they're tired, they're angry, they're frustrated, they're depressed, they're anxious. All of those different things are certainly real and have to be taken into account as we make these holiday plans. What do you think? What are you going to do? Can you share with me? Comment below what you're thinking and if this resonates with you, or if you say this is a ridiculous idea and we're going to do X, Y, and Z, or we're not going to get together, or we are going to get together. I would love to know what you're thinking and how you're going to make Thanksgiving. We're already past Thanksgiving. Christmas, Hanukkah, New Year's, all of those special occasions that you want to celebrate as safe as possible. And I just want to say thank you for watching this video. Thank you for sharing this video. If you find that it's good information to share about some different ways that we can keep things safe this holiday, if you would hit the share button and share that, that would mean the world to me. If you would hit like or share an emoji or a comment or something like that, that would mean the world to me. And just know that I'm in your corner and that there is light ahead. We have the vaccine on the horizon. And so, like I said, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas next year are not going to be looking like this. I will be able to archive this video and say this is not what we need to do for Christmas 2021. But for right now, I'm afraid this is where we're at, and we are all in this together, but we have to all do our part. So hopefully that helps. Keep up the good work. Happy holidays. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. Happy New Year's. All of the things that you celebrate. I hope that you get to enjoy and connect in whatever way is safest for you and your family.